There he is. What's good, kid?
Hey, what up, bro?
Just getting this thing set up. How you doing, brother?
Man, pretty good. I was a little worried. I thought like you had like a time slot, so I was like, oh man, I'm be late.
No,
And
man, you're good, Brody. You're good, man. You're here. It's good to see you, brother.
well,
Um,
man, I felt bad too because like I go talk to kids every now and then. One thing I always tell them is what Coach P used to tell us, to be early is to be on time. They ingrained that in my head,
that's
bro.
so funny that you brought that up because I talked with Henson last night. He looks
And
great, man. Hen dog looks
yeah,
great, bro. Yeah, he's got
I
his
talked to him on Facebook. I need to give him a holler.
dude. You do, man, because he's got his stuff squared away, man. He's up in he's in Fort Worth.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I talked to him last night. That was great, man. He had some cool stories, and that's what I want to dig in and hear some of your stories too, dude. Because he had some great shit. He was talking about how like when he first got to the league, right? You know what I'm saying? Because what round did you get drafted in, Jay?
I think I went fifth, first pick of the fifth. I think he went sixth,
Sixth.
right?
He went sixth.
Yeah,
Yeah. So you went
yeah.
man, and talk
And then
about
Schluter, I think, went seventh, if
damn,
I'm not
Schluter went
mistaken.
seventh. What a
Yeah.
legend, bro.
And
Schluter
that dude's
was
like 220 now.
I know I mean, he's lean and mean. Yeah. But like, dude, what a murderer's row of linebackers we had.
We were talking about that. He posted something I put about the NIL, and he said he put underneath it, man, we have been making some money. And I wrote, I don't know, man. We have like six NFL backers in one room. I don't know if they know who to pay.
Between
Hawthorne, Washington,
Jason Phillips,
Henson,
Derek,
me, Tank was in there. Then you got to count
Washington,
Hodge as a
and
linebacker.
then
Hodge is a
Hodge was like a
linebacker.
monster. He got drafted by the Cowboys
Yeah.
in like the fifth round or something. It's crazy, bro. We had such a squad. I actually saw this thing where first of all, guys, hey, this is Jason Phillips, absolute legend, TCU Hall of Famer, just an absolute goat. I mean, you are a Hall of Famer now, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Golly, just
2018.
what? Check that off the list, son. How sick is that? What
It
did they
was
give
cool,
you?
man.
Did they
He
give you a
said,
jacket or what? What did they give you?
yeah, I got to find it.
But they give you a jacket? Did they give you a jacket?
Yeah, you get a jacket. I got to get a new
Sick.
one, man. I don't know what I lost mine somehow, man. But
Sounds about right.
well, I
Yeah.
mean, but yeah,
Green
the things are
jacket,
different
gold
now.
jacket. Who gives a shit?
Hey, man, that's exactly that's the same thing that came to my head whenever. But they used to make you do a speech, so I had to get up and give like a speech. Now they just do like a Q&A with you and like
Uh,
whoever's running the deal, so it's a little easier. But man, I had to get up there, and the girl I was dating at the time was there. I thanked everybody but her.
oh no. How did that go over?
Oh, not very well, man. Not very well. I mean, we didn't date very long, so it's all right. But I felt
Right.
pretty bad.
Yeah. Sayonara. Yeah. That's
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Neither here nor
That one dug me
there.
in a hole.
Dang, that's funny. Brother, you've been running around today. What you been doing, dog?
Man, I had to go check on a project we had that was it wasn't messed up. We just got the measurements wrong, and the coach wanted to have it done by the time the kids got ready for their summer workouts. And so I was trying to remeasure it, talking with him, and it's funny because when I go visit coaches and stuff, it's hard to if I have to do certain stuff. It's hard because they want to start talking defense, and then you get me started talking on defense, man,
We go all day. We go all day.
oh man, then all of a sudden I'm like, what did I come out here to do again? And they're like, oh yeah, we're supposed to measure this. I'm like, oh yeah, we're not gonna get that done today,
So
bro. We
what
can
are it?
talk
What
this
are
off.
you doing right now? Just for people that
So I do
don't.
business development for BSN Sports. We basically we're athletic supply, equipment supply to high school, small colleges, and we sell anything really. I mean, I found out the other day we sell nacho cheese for your concession stands, but
And
we
that
started
nacho
out
cheese
mostly
and
as
that hey, and that nacho cheese
and the pickles, bro,
get
the
that money.
pickles,
And
man.
the pickles be getting that money, yeah. Because I mean, who doesn't
But
want to sit
yeah,
in
and we
a
sell pretty much
who
anything. We try to be a one-stop shop. So we uniforms are what we specialize in, but we sell the big three: Nike, Under Armour, Adidas. We have our own brand, BSN Victory Line, and then we sell all kind of equipment. We got all kind of vendors. Basically, anything you can think of, we sell. My job is to go into schools that we either had problems with or don't like us, and do my best to use my charm and good looks to get the coaches to like us again. And
yeah.
start working with us.
Is that like a regional thing? Like, do you only work in like southern Texas or central
Yeah,
Texas, or like you have a
yeah. I handle like Beaumont, Houston, San Antonio, and Corpus for the most part.
that's a cool gig, man. Honestly, that's perfect for you. I mean, you kind of cruise
Oh
around
man,
and
I tell you the one thing I've learned doing it, man, it made me kind of want to change up my purpose in life, man. I learned how many people and how much my dad has done in his life, man. Like I've
mm,
met so many people who have told me, oh, your dad helped me this, your dad did that. If it wasn't for your dad, I wouldn't be where I
wow,
am. I mean, everywhere I go, because when they hired me, they were like, the NFL, TCU, everywhere I go, it's you're Big Jim's son. Are you the
it's
older
your
one or the
dad.
younger one?
Yeah, wow. See, that's really cool. And in that like life, like as we look back at it, like if you take like a scope of it, like from a wider view, and you're like, yeah, I did all this stuff and this and that, and like, yeah, I worked for Michael Irvin. Yeah, I played in the NFL, this and that. I did TV, this and but like really it's like it goes back to the OGs, like your parents who are the ones that like developed you to be in that position to be there. And that's the
Man,
stuff that really counts, right?
it made me feel selfish, bro, because it made me feel like everything I had done up to that point in my life was kind of for me. You know what I mean? And then I'm hearing all these people talk about what my dad did for them, and I was like,
Well, but
okay,
okay. But I would say this to you, Jay, not to cut you off, but like but because that you are doing that now, like you're living out your father's legacy, right? Like
yeah,
you're carrying that on, which is something that I take pride in as well. Like my dad,
yeah.
working with, he's been
Oh, I've
training
had Thanksgiving dinner with with y'all.
no, yeah, well, let's talk about that because that is still an ongoing story that we talk about all the time. Is that um okay, so I had over some guys to the house. I don't know if it was it Thanksgiving or was it yeah, it must have been Thanksgiving or it was a
It was
birthday.
one of the holidays
I
that
think
we
it was
didn't
or
get
it
to
was
go
my
home.
birthday or something. I can't remember. But we had you guys all over and my
Yeah,
mom was like, "Yeah, we got to get, six
sweetest lady ever,
tenderloins."
by the way.
Oh, she's amazing. Her mom, Burrell, she keeps the house. She's the core, she really
Yeah,
is, especially when my dad's been sick over the last, 5 years and he's been going
yeah,
through whatever the hell he's going through and he just keeps battling and he's a battler, dude. He's a battler. It's crazy. And he goes from being this like track star athlete, like, you know, stud, just beast, and then like now he's been debilitated essentially. It
yeah.
sucks, dude. It's like really hard for him and his mental. But I'll never forget, dude. We brought you guys over to the crib. And it was like you, Tommy Blake, DH, whatever. And my mom was like, "No, Craig, my father." She's like, "We need like six tenderloins." He's like, "I don't know. We should probably get eight. We should probably get eight." And my mom still talks about the fact that you ate an entire tenderloin. You ate an entire tenderloin. You just murdered that thing. You're like, yep. Oh, this is beautiful. Thank you, Mrs. Burrell. Boom. You just kept crushing it and just murdered an entire. And there was no tenderloin at the end of the day. It was so,
Oh man, I'm pretty sure I wiped that plate clean, but I had
bro,
to,
you
man.
did.
Like my
Bro, you were
natural
a
weight was like,
monster. Well, dude, I mean, even me, like, me in my deal, when I was working at, those summer workouts, those were pretty tough, dude. Those were
bro,
tough
pretty
workouts.
tough. Yeah,
Very tough with Donnie Summers. That shit was hardcore. And so I used to wake up at like I used to set an alarm because I was trying to gain weight at that point because I had had that great spring. Remember, I came in, I was like a nobody. Everybody was like, "Who is this guy?" Everybody was like, "Who is this white kid like playing safety?" I was the only white boy. Well, Elvis, I guess, he's Hispanic, but
yeah,
at that time, I was the only white boy in the secondary, and I was like, I gotta put on weight. So like that summer, I was like waking up at like I would set an alarm at 4 a.m., bro, and I would go chug like a 9,000 calorie protein shake and then go back to sleep. And then I had all this Joe T's money, so I would
yeah.
like
I
literally
do
go,
remember that.
and then I would go to Yogi's, that place off of Hewlin or whatever it was. And I would go over there and get like eggs, granola, fruit, everything. I just used to wreck that shit. and then I would go to workouts. We would work out, and then we would run those fucking sprints, bro. Fucking hell. Or we would run those 400s, like those 400s where we run
You
around.
remember the super gassers?
Fucking hell. Oh, the super gassers were the worst. What about the Colorado circuit? That shit was gnarly. And they knew that we were like partying on Thursday night. So I'd show up on Friday morning, 5 a.m. And I'd just be, and you had to do those, what is that, stop and goes? Ooh,
The patent goes. The
pat and
patent goes were
goes.
the worst, man.
Ooh, boy, those, and Schultz would always be on those pat and goes. And man, you didn't want to see Schultz on the pat and goes.
Oh, hey, the worst was you always wondered how many you were going to do. Remember, it was always like, how many are we going to go down and back, down and back? Are we going to go down, back, down, back, down? So you'd
Yeah.
always wait, and then you just wait for coach to blow the whistle. And when he didn't, you were like, damn, we're going
Oh
again.
man, because he would catch some people slipping. Because like I remember Walt. He used to always, and
Big
Walt was
wall.
Walt Bryant. He was Walt Bryant, right? Big Walt, right?
Yeah,
The wide receiver. He
big
was,
wall from Angelo.
and he was a great player, man, and an awesome teammate. Straight up, like an incredible teammate. But he used to try to get down, like you know what I'm saying. He didn't pat that joint. He would just cruise around it, and then Schultz like,
He tried to shuffle, tried to do that little shuffle
he
around.
tried to just get around that joint. I'm like, God damn it. And all of us would have to go back and we'd be like, at that point, man, that was that shit not, I mean, that right there. And then also when Summers and was it Matt, what's the boy?
Parker,
Badass dude. Yeah, that
Matt
dude was
Parker.
him. Matt Parker's a badass dude. Yeah, Matt Parker, and they brought in like they were doing like they were doing something before anybody else was doing it. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
pushing the sleds, flipping the tires, like going back and forth, doing all that shit.
Oh
Oh
yeah.
God, that shit used to break me off, bro.
You remember the hype group that you had to be like, you weren't doing anything. You were just going around trying to tell everybody to get going. Man, that was the most
Oh
fake thing I
yeah,
ever did, bro.
that was so whack. And you were
I was
like
like,
dying.
yeah, let's go.
You were
Oh yeah.
you were dying the whole time. You were just dying. Yeah. See, that's why Renfro was so cold. And he's one of my best. He is like my best friend, bro. Um, and he was so cold in high school. And he came from that he was cut from
Hell, if
that.
he hadn't got hit with injuries, he'd have been cold the whole
Bro, I
time
mean,
too.
he would have been ridiculous, dude. That guy,
Yeah.
he could have been the way he ran his
He
routes.
was a faster Jordan Shipley kind of.
He was nasty, bro. The way he ran his routes. But like I can remember talking about that shit with him, and he was just like, "Oh god, that shit was gnarly, bro. Those workouts were insane." But those workouts though. I used to go from those summer workouts, and I used to have my like Joe T's outfit like ready and then I would go lift again after we lifted, we
Yeah.
ran, and then if you were anybody, right? If you were trying to get that money or whatever, you'd go back in there and lift again, and I'd go back in there and lift again and shit. And I'd go be in there with Marvin White. Bro, we had some dogs. I
Mark
saw
White.
I
Yeah.
saw a clip. I saw a
Great white
clip.
hit.
Great white hit, bro. And dude, I ran into so I've been chopping it up with Danny Amendola recently, which I knocked his ass out in 2007, by the way. That was the best game of my life, man. I had like 6 tackles against Texas Tech,
Oh, when we held them to what,
all
three?
on three, and they were scoring like 60 a game, bro.
I think we were the only team to ever hold the Pirate under double digits.
Oh, R.I.P., dude. What a legend. Yeah,
Oh
right.
man.
What a legend that guy was. Like,
I heard a story about him the other day that they had to talk him out of getting a little person in the backfield and throwing him over the goal line when they were on the goal line. So like
so
they were gonna hand it
that's
to and I was like, man, they can't be real. And a buddy of mine
no,
that played for him was like, no, that's probably real.
no, dude. I mean, that guy was awesome. What a badass. And Patterson, and you worked for Patterson. That's a crazy story. I want to get there. We'll go there. But so pork tenderloin, the parties. TCU was pretty. We were lit, man. Were we not? We had
Man,
like a different type of camaraderie. It's
we had a
not like it
unique group,
is.
man. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like it is today. Obviously, with the NIL and everything that's going on, it's just so gnarly how like these kids just hop around and go boom, 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 boom. It's like, man, well, even Jesse's kid, the kid from Alito,
Oh, Haney?
Henny just he went
Awesome.
to Oklahoma State. I'm like, dang, he could have been real nice. He could have been an awesome horn frog, but it's
Well,
just
and my thing is like, why not see how good you are at receiver? Because they have some good, like the Columbus quarterback, the Schobel kid, is going to be a really good quarterback, and we've got
yeah.
some good quarterbacks there. And as athletic as he was, man, he could have been a little Wes Welker type. You know what I mean?
That's
Like,
what I'm saying.
but
He could have played everything though. Like,
and
right?
I'm not faulting him. I'm sure he'll go there and do great. I
Absolutely.
wonder, you know what I mean? I wonder if that's what we're losing is, those guys that they go in, they want to be a quarterback. Obviously, you get around everybody, you realize, oh man, everybody's good. I
Well,
mean, hell, I went from a quarterback to a fullback to a
that's what
linebacker. You know
I'm.
what I mean?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
The
Yeah.
best
You.
thing that happened to me.
I remember. Yeah. I think I remember when it was either our sophomore or junior year, they started putting you at fullback. And then they tried to put you at tight end. I was like, what the hell? And you know what I'm saying? They were just trying to fit you in, but it's like, it just sucks that like we don't have like we have all these kids hopping around now. It's
Yeah,
just
and see,
we
the thing ESPN doesn't do is they may point out Joe Burrow and all that, but for every Joe Burrow, there's 10,000 kids that transfer themselves right out of college football, man.
you know,
Like 60%, 70% of them, if they transfer, they either transfer down or they don't get picked up at all.
you know,
And they don't ever talk about that. You know what I mean? And like that's to me where they're really letting the kids down, man,
you know,
is by showing them the detrimental side of what they're
you
doing.
know,
You know what I mean? Of the fact that their credits may not transfer. You know what I mean?
right.
Of the fact that there's all kind of things that go in that they don't talk about because they just want to talk about honestly all the BS, the hype, the stuff that really don't matter when it comes
Right.
down to the everyday player. You know?
It's crazy, man. Hold up. Let me just, I put my hat on real quick. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, because this is getting me twisted. Like, it's pretty gnarly how the game has changed so much in less, I don't know, 5 years. It's like 5 years.
I think I said this the other day, man. I don't know how they took the best sport. College football was the best sport of all of them. Pro, college, anything. College football is it. And they took the best sport and somehow in 5 years completely messed it up.
Crazy. We had such great camaraderie. That team, those teams, whether it was, when Ty went down, then Ballard stepped up. And then when Ballard did his thing and Ballard balled. I mean, that was crazy, by the way.
Ballard was deceptively fast.
He was that was the most freakiest quarterback of all time. I mean, how the hell he was like the most athletic quarterback
Bro,
in the
I remember I
country.
took so many bad angles on him because I was like, I got him. And then all of a sudden
Because
he
he would
outran
like
me. I was like, what
lean.
happened?
He would like lean, and then you would be like, "Whoop," and then he would go and just cruise around that. And I was,
And then you were left wondering, like, what the hell just happened?
but that's the other thing that I want to talk about is like I was talking to Hen Dog last night, and he was like, "Man, when I got to the league, he was like, Clinton Portis, who was an absolute freak, right? He was like out there, and what, 6th round draft pick or whatever, and Clinton Portis caught one out of the backfield, and he was like, normally I would just be able to like cut him off. He was already 10 yards behind me, dude. Like, I
Bro,
was like, bro, that
it's a totally different world, man. Like, and that's what the kids that are at Colorado State, at some of these smaller schools who are getting paid a lot of money, getting told all this, they don't understand, man. You go to that league, and that's a different.
it's a
Those
different
guys are
animal.
different, man.
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean, it's
that's
just
why I
every
think
one of them are that guy.
Well, that's why, I mean, like, honestly, look, you can say whatever you want about Shador and like all that stuff and all the Dion hype. Look, Dion did a great job of like, first of all, I think he's a great father. Like I think he like really. I mean, Dion hasn't done anything wrong. He's done everything in his will to like get those kids to that point, and he put them in a position to play great or whatever. But like, man, then you watch the pro day and you're like, told you so. Like this dude cannot really throw a bean. Like he does
Man,
not. He does like all his deep balls were like fluttering up top. And then
the,
and like maybe like just real quick, Jay, like so a guy like Andy Dalton, maybe he goes out there on pro day and some of his are fluttering a little bit and they're not like pointing down, you know what I'm saying? And you're a former quarterback, like you understand like his balls weren't going, but Andy was like willing to get better. He was trying to get better. He was like focused on the game. He was like focused on the team. He was like Andy Dalton got better every day. When I showed up there, I was like, I'm gonna run and gun. I'm gonna be the quarterback. I'm gonna like defense. I was like, all right, but like,
I
but
understand that.
yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, that's what GP did. I mean, look at Jerry Hughes, look at you, look at me,
Oh,
hell,
there's all
there was like what, 11 or 12 safeties in the room and nine of us were quarterbacks. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Like, and then he took Tommy Blake, took him from running back, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what GP does. And that's why GP is special. But Shador never really brought
Man,
anything to the table for me. Like I just never saw like some raw talent. And that's why and then on top of that, then you're gonna have like this like cocky attitude of like all this like arrogance and like, oh, my dad did this, so I can do this. It's like, dude, you're not Dion. Like,
yeah.
yeah, so it was
Well,
just, and then I know that's why he just went ding 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 because people, those, you know how you've been in those. What are those conversations like, Jason? Like when you're in there,
man, the thing I'll say about Shador is, man, I thought he was a great college player, great quarterback, but he was a system quarterback, and they don't really run that system as much in the NFL. And if they do, you better be Kyler Murray. You better be, you know what I mean?
right?
You
Yeah,
better be able
yeah.
to run. And Shador wasn't quite in that category. So you're
Right,
talking about a system quarterback going into a league that doesn't really run that system. And if they do, you better be able to Lamar Jackson it. You know what I mean?
right.
And
Yeah.
that's what he
Well,
did.
and that's just next level. Yeah, that's just
Exactly, but that's who they are. You know, there's 32 starters. That's it. So you got to be next level of the next level. The other thing is, I think it was Jay Glazer put it out there. There used to be two things that would get you wiped off a board. I know it happened to me: injuries and character issues.
yep.
Well, now they got a new one, which is, do you love football? And I
Mm.
don't think Shador came off as truly loving football.
I
You know
think
what I
he
mean?
loves the idea
I think he
of
loves the hype and all that about it.
yes.
But in the NFL, that hype don't come as easy as it does in
Yeah.
Boulder, Colorado, or wherever they're at. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when you got a Heisman winner catching your balls, and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a different world. And I think he's a great quarterback. I think he's going to be able to play in the
But what
NFL,
the hell
probably
are the
be a
Browns?
backup
But
for a while.
okay, but like pump the brakes. What the fuck are the Browns doing? They've got like 17 quarterbacks now. Like
The
I'm
only thing I
like,
can think of is they're hoping of one of two things. One, he is going to turn out to be good and they got a great pick late. Or two, they're going to be able to trade some of those guys for some better guys down the road.
yeah, maybe they can trade
They're
that
hoping
kid.
some guys get hurt and that they can use those guys in trades.
I
I
don't
don't
know
know.
what they're doing because they signed Flacco. They signed I don't know who. What they have? Deshaun Jackson? Is he still
Yeah.
in that
But you
joint?
got to
Yeah,
think if you're a guy, if you're a team and let's say your top two guys get hurt in preseason, you're going to go after a Flacco.
yeah,
So now
yeah.
they're
Well,
saying, well, let's take him. And if he turns out to be okay, we'll
Flacco's
keep
like
him. We'll
kind
be
of
able to
their
trade.
fall guy, honestly, right?
Yeah, yeah, and
But
the other
Flacco's
thing with that,
pushing Flacco's pushing 40 dogs. He's got to
uh,
be. Is he not our
but see,
age?
so is I mean, look. You're talking about Andy. The reason Andy's so good, Andy can play in
Oh,
any system, and
no,
Andy can
so
play
smart.
within his game in the system. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah. Andy's
If you give him a
special.
good running back, a good line, he can go in and not lose the game for you.
He's like what they talk about when they say like a manage guy, like a
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, he's a guy that you can just trust to play within the scheme and get you out of the game alive. You know what I mean? So if you're up ahead, he'll keep you ahead. If you're down, he'll probably be able to get you up ahead
Well,
if your
also
defense
he's
is down.
gonna stay level-headed too. Like,
And
you know,
and people are gonna play
and he
hard for a
also
guy
doesn't
like
care
him.
about all this bullshit. He doesn't give a damn about that. He's just
Man, and
like,
that's why like he's the teammate guy. You know what I mean? He's the
yeah,
guy that the younger guys respect because he's made all kind of money. He's played however, made how many Pro Bowls, but he still methodically acts the same way.
yeah.
You know what I
I
mean?
mean, he was a great teammate. He used to bust his ass in workouts during
Oh
the
yeah.
summer. Remember that shit? I mean, he used
And man,
to.
the thing I liked about Andy was we won a lot of games, but he knew he was still developing, and he knew we won a lot of games because we kept people to 10 points, to 13 points. You know
Right.
what I
I
mean?
mean, our defense was raw. I mean,
But
there
then when
was
he came into his own, they started winning games because of the offense. You know what I
right,
mean?
right.
But like he never tried to pretend like he was it was all him. And that I respect him a lot as an older player. I was like, man, I like that. I'll play hard for
I
my
do too.
quarterback all
I
day.
loved that too. I mean, also like I guess like probably our junior and senior year. I mean, hell, I think our junior year we led the country in takeaways, right?
And
That
then
was
our
our
senior year, man, we led the entire country in rush defense. We gave up
yeah,
47 yards a game, bro. That's under 50 a game. The next closest was
crazy.
Texas with like 89, bro.
You know what
Giving
that
up
was?
less than 100 a game is good. Giving up less than 50 is different, bro.
Yeah, well, because you know why? Because we had you guys at we had some really special players. Yeah, I mean it started up front, obviously, right? And then we had these incredible linebackers like yourself who were just like could run like the wind and would just and also just everybody like they always preach 111th. Everybody and
And
then we
man,
had these
yeah.
safeties like Tukey and Marvin and Roach and oof, man, boy, we
And I
were.
mean, even
And then we
TJ when
had
he
two,
stepped
and
in,
we
you
had
know,
lockdown corners though. We had
with Raph and
Priest
two goals.
and Sanders and Two Gold. Dang, have you seen Two Gold's son and
Yeah,
have you seen Priest
monster.
and all both of those dudes? I think he's going to Michigan. Two Gold's son.
Yeah, I think he can go anywhere he wants, man.
Well, I think he's going to Michigan, dude. And I'm like,
Yeah.
damn, bro. These kids and Priest's son, I mean, he smokes everybody in the 100 and the 200 and the 400. I'm like, damn.
You remember how big Priest's arms were?
Yeah, how he had those like bulging biceps. Yeah.
Well, I remember being like, dog,
Bro, he
don't
used to
walk
have
next to
some
me,
big old
man. If we're
ass
on the field, stay
shoulders.
away from me. You look
I
bigger than me.
know. He had some big ass fucking like boulders, shoulders like boulders. And then he also had like these big ass biceps. I mean, dude, we had
But
some
that
guys.
defense, man, if you have two corners that can lock down, you can do a lot with that defense.
So what like so all right man let's check it up real quick because this is interesting. So you go through that draft process and like when I it was my last I can remember taking that what is that test they make you take the it's not
Oh yeah, the
what is that
I can't
test? It's stupid.
I
It's
can't
like a
remember the name.
toss test or like a
It
well
really is,
it
man.
was and I
Uh,
was in there taking it and I'm like why am
it's
I
got a
taking
weird
this?
name.
I was like, why am I taking this right now? And I remember Estop being like, he was sitting next to me. He's like, was he was like trying to cheat off me.
Well,
And
what
I
it
was
is,
like,
man, it's stuff you ain't even seen since like third
it's
grade.
not even, yeah, it's not even applicable to the game of football. Anyway, so we
Yeah.
took that test or whatever, and I was just like, this is where I'm done. I was like, I'm not going to the league. So then that's when I got the internship at CBS Dallas. And I can remember
Yeah.
like showing up and like covering your pro day. And like I was out there with my mentor, Bill Ellis, and we were like, and I was interviewing you guys and stuff. So you go through that process. I mean, that's got to be like super intense, man. That's got to be like, oh, it's got to be a lot like on your head. Like, damn,
Oh man, I tell you what was what was surprising to me was at the combine when you went and met with the teams. They came at you a little bit. Like I remember talking to other linebackers afterwards, like Cushing. I know they kind of messed with him, asking him about steroids.
yeah.
Uh, Ray Maluga, I think they asked him about maybe smoking weed. Me, they were like, "Yeah, have you really been working out?" And I was like, yeah, why? They're like, well, it looked like we were looking at an O lineman up there because I was never shredded. You know what I mean?
Well,
But I
yeah.
remember, but I remember telling them like, hey man, I can tell you this: I'll run faster than every six pack you got in this place right now. And so like they wanted to
Right.
see if you could take what they throw at you and kind of come back at, you know what I mean? That
Well,
you
like,
wouldn't fold
yeah.
under it.
Well,
They
that's
wanted to
another
see if you would pop off a little bit back to them. Because
that
that's how an NFL locker room is, you know?
yeah, that's interesting. Damn.
Yeah.
Also, I mean, it goes back to shit when I was like going to like A&M summer camp or Texas summer camp or like, Baylor summer camp, trying to get recruited and shit and like show my shit. And I would like see these guys and they have like, yeah, they got some jacked calves and like, yeah,
Yeah.
this and that. But the guy couldn't throw a fucking out route. I'm like, he's not a football player. I mean, like,
That's to
yeah,
look like Tarzan, play like Jane, man.
thank you, bro. I feel like that's is that a and Bumpus used to say that too, man. And
But
that's
those paper tigers, man, they're everywhere.
bro, isn't that the truth though? Isn't that wild? Because
It's why a guy like Cam Ward came out with no
yeah.
stars, and
Oh my
DJ
God, isn't that
Ugalhuga.
crazy? Number
I
one
mean,
pick,
it's
zero
just.
stars.
And honestly, what I've noticed since I was recruiting at TCU. Now I kind of just do it for fun on the side with some of my buddies. I've noticed, man, once those guys pick a kid, everybody jumps on him, and they just, you know what I mean? They build
Yeah.
him up, and I very rarely do they pan out.
I
Like
think
the
it's
big D end, he usually pans out, but the quarterback,
yeah,
not
right.
so much.
I think it's super queer to be politically correct for all of the whatever, I
Yeah.
think it's super queer how like everybody's like, oh yeah, this guy, he's this and that. And it's like he's really not all that, dude. It's like
Man, at the end of the day, they go back to the tape.
I
They
know, but
always
like
go back to the
The
tape.
thing that irks me about Cam Ward was in the bowl game, he just pieced out at halftime and like took his helmet off and like still I was like, really?
I'm with you on that,
That's
man.
the
I didn't
type
like.
I was like, that's the type of guy that you want as your leader, as your
Yeah.
quarterback. What is that about? And I get it, like everyone's like all about the whole fucking bullshit. I don't know. I thought that was kind of gnarly, and I get that he's an underdog, and that's awesome, and like he has money on the table and shit like that. But like, dude, how are you gonna just like peace out on your team at
The
halftime?
thing that gets
And
me,
like
man, what pisses
these
me
kids, they leave. They don't even play in the bowl game.
and what pisses me off is they're like, well, what if they got hurt? And I'm like, look, man, I got hurt at the combine. Nobody gave a damn about that. You know what I
Right,
mean? Like,
right,
you could step off the curb tomorrow and get hurt. Like,
right. Seriously, yeah,
like that's life. You know what I mean? But like, you got guys counting on you. You got guys you've just played 4 years with,
that's
and you're just
crazy.
gonna leave them hanging. You know what I mean?
That's
And the
crazy.
thing that pissed me off about getting hurt at the combine was I think they passed a rule the next
What
year
did you do?
that
Did you tweak a hammy
blew my
what?
knee out.
You did, right?
That
Yeah.
was when I partially tore my ACL and tore my meniscus.
Fudge, bro. That would have. I mean, that could have like. But you did end up in a great place, and I think
Oh no, yeah.
they believed
Honestly,
in
like,
you. But Baltimore believed in you and stuff, right?
oh man, and going to Baltimore was great because they took special teams so serious. So like, I
Right.
learned a lot of great technique. I learned a lot of things that kept me in the NFL for long
Okay,
enough to get
that's
vested.
sick.
You know what I mean? Because
Yeah,
other teams don't quite look at special teams like that. So I may not have learned those things and then not played as long if I'd have gone to some other team. You know what I mean?
yeah. That was Ozzie Newsome, right? That was
No,
the.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. What was
Yeah.
your relationship like with him?
Man, it was cool. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and say we got to know each other on like best friends, but because
Sure.
I was rehabbing that first year, he would always come in and walk. At the same time I was rehabbing, so I got a chance to talk to him and pick his brain.
Well,
He was playing chess while everybody else was playing checkers, man.
damn, that's cool. I mean, he obviously thought a lot about you and thought he knew you were a great player, like
Yeah.
at the core of it all. It's
Well,
pretty cool.
that's one thing that threw me off was being in the hotel room and they started throwing up the top five Kuiper, and when I saw myself at number two, I was like, what? I did not, you
Oh
know what I mean? I
shit,
did,
damn.
I didn't know that, you know what I mean? So I was like, okay, all right, you know what I mean? Like,
Wow, that's pretty sick.
but
That's
at the
kind of
same
like
time, I was like, it was a little nerve wracking because you're like, now you better perform, bro.
yeah. Well, but you've always but I feel like people like you and I when when somebody puts pressure, it's like
Oh man, that's when I'm the best. Yeah,
that's when
yeah,
I'm the best, dude. Same
yeah.
same deal, Jay. It's like when somebody puts pressure on you. It's like that. There's a quote. It's like about like you take charcoal or whatever, a rock, and then you just put
Oh
on
yeah,
pressure,
man,
and then
pressure.
you become a diamond.
I like to say pressure busts pipes and pressure makes diamonds, and I am very shiny.
That's dope. So you get drafted, bro, and you go to the Ravens. Obviously, you're
Yeah.
like rehabbing and stuff like that. But like, what was it like being in there? Because at that time, that was like the pinnacle of Ravens defense.
Oh
And
yeah.
I mean, you were in there with just, I mean, like, can you tell me, like, name some of those guys and like how you felt when you went into that locker room and like how that went and everything?
Man, at first I kind of hated it because I felt like because I got put on my arm. You know what I mean? So I got paid, but I didn't get to. So I felt like I was cheating. You know what I mean? I felt like I was
I
getting
hate
paid.
that.
You know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and that that kind of messed with me for a little while. But then I got to
Up
watch.
here, that got you here, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And luckily, we had enough older guys, and guys like Jarrett Johnson, Ray, Ed Reed, those guys were real cool about seeing younger guys who they thought might be struggling a little bit and making sure they knew, like, hey, man, come here, get mental reps, make sure you're paying attention because
Mhm.
when you come back, they're going to expect you to hit the ground running. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so that was another reason being a part of that team because I tell kids all the time, man, the best teams I ever played on were completely player owned. And the Ravens were the best example I've ever seen of that, man.
Yeah.
Like Ray, Ed, Jared Johnson, Haloti Nada, Kelly, they owned the Trevor Price, they owned that
Ooh.
locker room. Dominic Foxworth,
You
they
played with
owned
some
that
you
locker room.
played with some goats, dude.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Like
man. And watching them
legendary
prepare,
goats.
man, was impressive, man.
Wow.
They literally prepared like rookies every day, man. Like it,
Damn.
it. I thought I was a cerebral player. I thought I studied, and I watched Ray and Ed and those guys sit, talk, take notes, ask questions, talk, communicate. And I was like, I better pick my game up, man, because when I get ready to play, if I'm gonna play with these guys, I better be with it. You know what I mean? I better know
Yeah.
why this tight end's there. I
Right.
better know what they run on this. It was kind of like
But that was like
here.
wasn't that Todd Heap was Todd
Todd
Heap?
Heap was tight end there. Yeah, I mean Willis McGay. He was a running back. LaRon McClain. They had
LeBron McClain.
Matt Burke at center. Marshall Yonda. They had
Oh.
Michael Orr. You know what I mean? They had
Oh,
they had
Michael
some
Orr,
studs.
damn man, y'all had a squad, bro.
Oh yeah, I
What
mean
is like a hello rookie moment? Not and it could be even it doesn't even have to be on the field. I'm just curious, like, I haven't, we catch up here and there. You and I we stayed in touch, and God bless that, man. I'm so thankful that you're my homie. I'm so grateful for you as a brother. But
yeah.
like, is there any moment that kind of like stands out, or any kind of like story that you're like, damn, what this was
Yeah,
crazy?
man. For me, it was when I had to take because I was the only drafted linebacker. Now we brought in Danielle Ellerby, who should have been a first round pick. He got in a little trouble that kind of sidelined it, but he was smart. He saw the Ravens drafted me. He knew he could probably beat me out because I was hurt. And he was a hell
Wow.
of a player himself.
Who is this?
But
Who is that?
Danielle Ellerby, he played at Georgia, and he
Oh
ended up
shit. So he
playing.
comes from SEC and like, yeah, it's just
But
like,
he ended up
yeah.
starting, and he got like a $40-something million deal with Miami. He was a great player, but we had to we had to do the rookie dinner, and man, the rookie dinner came out to be like 20 something thousand, bro. And I remember
God
being
damn.
like, I remember sitting there like, like I got to pay it, man. I can't make Danelle pay it. He didn't get a good like signing bonus. So I was like, all right, man. And I remember Ray tapped me on the shoulder like, hey, bud, give me $5,000. I got the rest. I was like,
Wow.
oh man, I was like, that's why this team is
Damn.
good because when the older guys take ownership and take care of people, that's when you know what I mean.
Damn.
You buy in because you don't. I didn't want to let Ray down. You know what I mean. After doing something like
Right.
that for me, you know what I mean.
Absolutely.
Like,
Yeah.
and it just showed you what kind of camaraderie and culture they had there that made them so different.
Damn, that's so tight, dude. That is
Oh,
badass.
bro, when I heard 27,000, man, I was like, I was about to do that. I was about to do that whole look, man, I got a checking account, I got a savings account. So I gotta move my checking account to my savings account.
Yo,
But
that's wild, bro.
yeah,
Damn,
man,
dude.
he
So what,
came through on me on that.
man, that's so
Yeah,
tight. Do you
that was
stay in
big.
touch with those guys? I mean, obviously not
Man,
like,
you know, when the Super Bowl was in Houston, Ray had a party or something that he sent me some tickets and stuff to. I couldn't go, so my little brother and his friend got to go,
that's
and he
cool.
met him, and he's, you know, when he was like, "Yeah, I'm Jason's brother," he was like, "Yeah, Jay Phillips," but I don't keep in touch with him mainly because I we were boys, but I don't want to bother them and stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
Like,
know. That's kind of how it
I'm
is
sure if
with,
I needed something, they'd come through, but I'm not gonna, you know,
it's kind of
hound them.
interesting. That's kind of how it is with Irvin, right? Like
Yes,
Irvin's there when I really need him or something.
that's what.
Or
Yeah,
or maybe sometimes he'll just pop up out of nowhere and be like, "Hey, Andy, I got this for you." And I'm like,
yeah,
"Whoa, where'd you come from?" But like we don't it's not like I'm sitting there texting him like I text you, you know what I'm saying? Like it's just
yeah.
I don't know. That's it's kind of an interesting deal. I mean, they got a lot of shit going on, honestly. I mean,
Well, and that's kind of like when I met Michael Orr, and me and him went in pre-draft for a visit, and that was right when the Blind Side came out and all that. You
okay,
know,
you're right. Yeah.
I did not want to ask him about that movie, man.
No.
If that was me, I would not want anybody asking me about the
No.
movie. You know what I mean?
Especially
So I was
not like
like,
a not a teammate, not a homie. Like, yeah.
yeah, so I was like, man, I'm gonna show him the respect I would want. I ain't gonna say shit about it. So
Right.
that whole weekend, I didn't ask him nothing. And I remember when we were packing up to leave, he was like, "Man, I hope you get drafted here." I was like, "Oh, cool, man. I appreciate you saying that." I was like, "What brought that about?" He was like, "Man, you're the only one I've been around during this whole process that ain't asked me about that stupid
See?
fucking movie."
Yeah. That's the shit. Well, that I mean
So
that
that made me feel good, but
well, but that's I mean, that goes to show you the kind of guy you are, Jay. Like, it's just that is I mean, and that's
you
kind of
just
how
got to put
I
yourself in their shoes, you know, like,
exactly because ain't, ain't nobody want to hear that shit, and you know they're hearing that shit right and left, you
man,
know.
and especially for people who don't understand the game or any of it, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
Oh
those
God,
are the
that's even
worst, you know.
worse. Oh, that's the worst, bro. God dang.
And I
Um,
hear from those guys, man, on game day, I'll be around people I don't know or I do know.
do you
And
go to Ravens games or anything, or do you? Who
I've
else did
gone to
you play for
one
after the Ravens? When you?
Carolina and then
That's,
Philly.
that's what I thought. Yeah, I
Uh,
thought you played
but I
in
went to
Philly.
one when they played Houston. Man, I try not to hit nobody. I just went. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
that's cool. Yeah,
uh,
you probably just
but
and you kind of like it's honestly like I don't even know how to approach the situation now at TCU. It's like you know, because I know Sonny's trying to get some like alum back and stuff like that. And like, obviously I wasn't like a draft pick or like, a baller at that point. You know what I'm saying? But I've done all these other great things. And I'm like, man, I could like really preach to these kids, but I don't want to like overstep or like even like,
yeah.
I don't even want to ask, honestly. I
And I
don't
don't
even
think
know.
Sonny's against guys coming around. You know what I mean? Like, I think he wouldn't mind, some older guys coming around. It's just, sometimes you get guys that maybe played a year, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And those are the guys you're like, hey man, like if you didn't grind through those 4 or 5 years, man, then
Well,
I don't want
that's
to say you can't come
that.
around,
Well, that's
but
me, dogs. I grinded my dick off, bro. I was,
yeah,
because I was always I'm like the Undertaker, bro. Just let me, you know what I'm saying? I did I not? I just kept pushing and pushing and like kept working and working. I never
that's all you
fucking
could
gave
do with
up.
GP, man. I tell people all the time, man. Like,
GP
boss coach,
pushed me
I was
like
like,
that,
look,
yeah.
you make it through Gary's program, you gonna make it through anything.
You can make it. Bro, I had some shit come up today. It was I thought I was gonna get this like badass gig and it just didn't happen. And
Yeah,
it was like, you know what? And I think I've been putting a lot of work in on myself, like, with like some therapy and shit and like really like tapping into like who the hell I
yeah,
am and like understand and not getting so frustrated at the little shit, and just being like, all right, that's cool.
yeah.
that's not meant to be. So now,
Yeah.
there was this dude, this badass rapper I had on, Twisted Black, and I was like, I mean, this dude did, do you know Twisted Black? You know Twisted Black? He's a
I'll be honest with you, man. I'm more of a country guy myself.
You would love his shit then. Yeah, because he's country as
Yeah.
fuck. He's straight from Fort Worth, but he did 16
Bro,
years. He did 16 years in the pen, bro. Like, and I was like, yeah. And I tried to kind of like figure out, like, and I was like, yeah, everything happens for a reason. He was like, Andy, no, it doesn't. He was like, he said that his mom used to tell him, this is happening. It's not that it happened for a reason. It's just like this is happening. And so now I got to figure out how to like
deal with it.
live with this, deal with it, figure out a way to get through it and go from there. I thought that
Yeah.
was some pretty badass advice. I was like,
I mean,
fuck.
that's pure accountability. You know what I mean? Like
Absolutely. That's like
yeah.
ownership 101, right? Have you read that
And
book?
ownership
Have
it's
you
a
read that
big
book,
word,
Jay?
man.
That's a
Huh?
book that you should read. I think you would dig that. It's called Ownership, by
I read one from an army
Jocko.
guy called Extreme Ownership.
Extreme Ownership, Jocko.
Yeah.
Yeah, I met
Yeah.
him. Yeah, I met him. And
What?
I was like, this motherfucker. He was like right here on me. And we took a picture and I was flexing and I was like, this dude, but he would have strangled me in a
I was
heartbeat.
about to say, man, he'd
He
kill
would
you
have
with stuff.
murdered me, son. He would have murdered me. I was like, but at the time I was like, yeah, I got you, son. But no, not at all. But like, but that is like that's an interesting way to like that's a great take on like living every day is like that extreme ownership. Like, look, this is on me. I can't put it on so and so or this or like somebody said this and that. Fuck all that, dude. It's on me, And you
And
gotta
see, people don't understand the power in ownership, dog. When you own your mistakes or you own whatever it is, nobody can use it against you. You know what I mean?
absolutely.
And like the thing that worries me is with these kids getting paid, getting told how great they are. I mean, you know as much as I do. Those first 2 to 4 to 5 years after you get done playing are hard. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Because you're basically institutionalized. You know, football was who you were and what you did, and all of a sudden it stops. And
Yeah.
now you got kids getting paid, being told how great they are. You know what I mean? And it's just gonna stop real quick, and
Yep.
they're not gonna know where to go, what to do. They're not gonna have the relationships we had because they transferred.
Right.
I'm a little
That's
worried about what we're gonna see in the next few years, man.
I know that is interesting, man. Like to think about the future of the game or just the future of like the young men, right? Like what
Well,
are
they're not going to have no degree, no relationships to fall back on. They never had to fight through adversity. Their
Mhm.
$32,000 NIL check is gone. You know what I mean? Like, and then they're going to go, well, who am I now if I've been this football player that was supposed to go pro and now I haven't? And nobody's taught them how to take everything they used in football and redirect it to a new purpose.
well, and think about
And
like
they're going to be stuck.
yeah. Well, and think about like even if I mean oh God, it's kind of like it's a slippery slope, right? It's very upsetting because you already have like say for instance yourself or another like say a Johnny Manziel who like missed out on the NIL stuff and yeah he made money and he did this and that but like when you play a game and it's all you have, say if you come from like a broken family and you come from a single mother home or whatever, and then all of a sudden like you get there and you do this and this is all you have is like football and this is it. And then you play in the league for a couple years and then you're cut off. And you see like Deontay West or whatever, the basketball player from, he played for the Mavs. He's on the streets, man. He like it's really hard to understand like what do I do next? And you're like sitting here it's like you're lost, bro.
That's what pisses me off about ESPN focusing on all the guys that the 1% of guys that transfer in that works out for, instead of focusing on the guys that, hey man, hey, really think about what you're doing. Because if you transfer, chances are you're going to transfer again, and you're going to lose credits, you're going to lose relationships, you're going to have to go from system to system, and you're going to have to learn a
Yeah.
new system, and so you're
Yeah.
not going to be able to develop. And
Well, then all of a
They're
sudden you're just gonna
robbing
get
kids of
lost
all
in
the
this,
great
and
things
then
you
you're just
got.
gonna get lost. You're just gonna get lost.
And then you
Um,
transfer right out of sports and you go, oh man, I had a chance to get a free education and a little money. And I
golly.
screwed it up because I listened to somebody who told me transferring was the best thing because I didn't want to become a great special teams player and scout team player for a year or
I
two to
know they just
develop
give
until I
up.
became a
I know
star.
they just give up though. And that was there's actually something, Jay, that's really interesting is I heard these like statistics today about like I was listening to this podcast and it was talking about how like Gen Z like they drink less. They don't get as much domestic violence. They don't. There were like four or five stats essentially like of all these things that have like gone down since like according from millennials to Gen Zs.
Yeah.
And then the doctor came back and he was like, yeah, the reason why that they don't, because they're not communicating with anybody. They don't
They're not
hang
leaving
out.
the
They don't do
house.
anything. They lay in their
Yeah.
bed and they're on their phones just fucking scrolling. So it's like, yeah, they don't get a DUI. Yeah, because they're not fucking, they're literally on their phone looking at, like, I don't know, Lady Gaga. I don't know, whatever the fuck. You know what I'm
Well,
saying? It's like,
you know, and another thing that these kids that transfer don't understand is like, so let's take me for example. I would have never got moved to linebacker if I didn't spend that first year kicking ass on scout team.
yeah,
Gary would have never moved me to linebacker if I hadn't showed him I had enough athletic ability to get there. You know what I mean?
that was the
I would
only
have never
reason.
got
That was the only
drafted.
reason I got a scholarship was because I busted my ass on scout team and then got to special teams and then worked into the nickel and dime. You know, like
Bro, I would have never got drafted because I had a blown out knee. But I got drafted because they went back and looked at the 4 years I had of the reputation I built of being a hard worker, of being a
yeah,
guy that showed up early. So that you know
yes,
what I mean. I got drafted not because of my talent, or but because of the body of work I put in those
yep,
4 years. I
yep.
stayed in the NFL because I was willing to be on scout team. I was willing to be a great special teams
Same
player.
with
I
same
was, you
with
know what I mean.
you and
They just
DH,
don't. There's so many kids that don't want
you
to
and
own that
DH.
new role.
I know you, DH, and Colin. Like Colin's a perfect example.
Colin didn't even start, did he? So
Colin
for
was
senior
literally a
year, played
little
10 years.
he was a little T-Rex doing a backdrop. I was like, this guy, but that dude would run his ass down on kickoff. He was 210 pounds, solid as fuck, running in a 4.4, and he would
And he did
cream. He
things
would
right, man.
cream you, bro. Yeah.
And he could back up multiple positions. He
Yeah.
could. They knew they didn't have to worry about him getting in trouble
Utility
off the
player.
field.
Yeah. But
I
like
mean,
kids these days don't want to do that, bro. They just want to be
well,
like,
and what
no, I should
happens
be
is,
here.
man, when you're getting told how great you are and you're getting paid money, you don't want to own up to the fact that shoot, he's better than me. I need to be a scout
I
team
know.
player, and
I
I
know.
need to develop. You know what I mean?
Yep.
They don't want to have the humility to understand I'm not quite good enough yet. Let me develop into what that guy is. You know what I mean? And so they just transfer because they think that's the best road to go.
What's okay, you got to give me and I want to learn a little bit about like, what you're doing right now because I feel like you're doing some cool stuff right now. And I want to talk about that. But and I think like, your dad being your coach growing up and stuff, I feel like you're kind of like molding into that like but you're like using your experience, your own experience, but you're also
Yeah.
like that. I think that's really freaking cool. But like give me one before we jump over there. Give me one like story of like, I don't know if it's a Ray Lewis story, if it's a Raven story, if it's because didn't you play with what was the guy? Oh man, there was the
Man, I
guy.
backed up a Hall of Famer on every team I was at.
That's crazy.
I'm back to Ray and them at Ravens, Keekly and John Beeson at Carolina, and D'Amico Ryan's at Philly.
Jamaica Ryan's, damn, and look at what he's doing. What about didn't you was it Tequila Spikes or who was the guy? No, who was the guy that was
Thomas
so
Davis was another one at Carolina, and then
oh that guy, man, what he was what? That
bro, he
dude
could run. He had three knee surgeries like I did, but he could run like a son of a gun,
isn't
man.
that wow, really? Like I mean, what? That's crazy that he had those
He's just
knee.
one of those guys that had
He
that
wasn't
point
even
oh
built
one
like
percent.
gnarly. He wasn't like
Huh? But man, I'll tell you right now, when he took off, it was like Daryl, bro. Like he could take
Oh,
off.
for real? Yeah, Daryl
Yeah,
Washington was special, man. He was so
yeah.
good.
I mean,
That
that was
guy
that was the corner trapped in a linebacker's body.
is that was oh wow, really? Yeah, that's how
That's
you
Daryl.
that
Yeah.
that's a great analogy or whatever. Like that's incredible. What I mean, like what is there a story though? Like is there anything that
Man, the coolest thing I thought, at least for me, was because he was so big, was loading out at one time we were in camp and everybody stayed in the hotel. And his uncle and brother came up and one of his friends. All of them were monsters, bro.
yeah.
Well, I walk by the room, the door's open, and I'm like, yeah, I'm just going downstairs to get a drink, some chips. And I look in, and these 340-pound dudes were sitting Indian style, passing around a bowl of that kava, just playing a little ukulele. And so I walked by, I looked in, I was like, okay, like what? What? And they're like, Jason, come on in, man. And so I was like, shit, when am I going to get the chance to go sit down with an all pro D tackle? But
Right.
I mean, even I had trouble sitting Indian style and these big sons of guns with no problem sitting there, bro.
That's I
And so I
mean,
just sat there like drinking kava, watching them play the ukulele, singing
damn, that's
it
pretty
was cool
dope.
though, man, because it was a different cultural like
Yeah,
experience, you know what I mean?
that's so cool.
But it was impressive seeing those dudes sit Indian style as big as
Because
they
they're
were.
just like 350 pounds and they've got their knees and their
And like not
ankles like
fat, like 350 pounds, like,
solid.
dude, I'm like, those were the guys that were like the tribal leaders and the leaders of like kings or whoever it was back in the
Yeah,
day when like the biggest, baddest dude ran
yeah,
things, you know what I mean? Because
yeah.
there wasn't nobody could touch a Lodi.
That's crazy, bro. Yeah, he was that. I mean, that guy obviously first
Oh my
ballot
God.
Hall of
You
Famer.
want
Like,
you want to see something crazy? Go watch his rugby highlights.
really, he was just chopping. Just
Bruh. It wasn't even fair.
damn, for real.
It wasn't even fair, man.
I mean, what was it like seeing him like pull out, like doing a pull, like coming out? Like, was he just?
I tell you the coolest thing, man, and it was like watching two brown bears go to war. Was when him and the dude with the hair from Pittsburgh, the
Pamalua or
guard.
whatever. Yeah.
Nah, the guard that was real big.
Oh,
When
oh,
him and Elodie would go at it, bro, that was the
damn.
only dude I ever saw that could go one on one against Elodie and hold his own. Like
Interesting.
nobody else I really saw
You
could
know
do
what
it.
that probably was? That was more like it was internal. It was like
Oh
a
yeah.
pride, like, that's
Oh, it's like
interesting,
when
dude.
Ray used to go against Eddie George. You know what I mean? It was just like that.
Wow.
You know what I
Damn.
mean? That
Yeah.
personal battle. But man, I
Yeah.
watched Haloti crush almost every O lineman he went against, except for that guy, and it was interesting to watch, man. I remember being
That's
like, "Is
crazy.
anybody else watching what I'm watching right now?" Like,
Yeah, it's like two, like you said, what do you say? Two brown bears
dude, two
going
big old bright grizzlies going at it,
Grizzlies
bro.
just after it. And I actually saw that online the other day and it was gnarly, so I can only imagine. What about like what was there like a badass like who was the fucking guy? I can't think of his fucking name. It's driving me nuts. The other linebacker. He had kind of some stuff on his face. The big black dude, man. He was a linebacker for the Ravens.
From Suggs,
Thank you. God
E
dang, that's what
Sizzle,
yes, like that motherfucker was a beast, bro. What was he
that
doing?
motherfucker was a character, bro.
Good God, I
He
bet, bro.
might
I
have
believe
been
it.
the funniest son of a gun I've ever been around,
Shit,
bro.
no shit,
Like,
really, really.
bro, and like just naturally had it. I remember he set out all of camp one year. He was holding out, you
Hold
know
him
what I mean?
out, yeah, yeah. Good for
But
him. Good for him. Yeah.
came back for the last preseason game, right? Played a little bit. Went through practice that week. We opened up on a Monday night against the Steelers. 4 sacks in the first half.
Damn. What?
I was like, that ain't fair, man. Like that's why steroids should be illegal because I can't do that. But
Damn, that's
he
crazy.
besides his might have been a little better. I don't know, but besides Tommy Blake, I don't think I've ever seen a better first step, man. Like
Oh, Tommy
that
Blake,
dude,
man. Tommy Blake, man. Let's talk about him for a minute before I let you go. And then I want to ask you
yeah,
about what you're doing right now because I think you're doing some really cool shit. And I really appreciate it. And I think it's making like a huge impact on young kids and everybody else. Um, Tommy Blake. Holy cow. I mean, have you
yeah.
when he was wearing that 97 his sophomore year? I've never
You
seen
remember
anything
when he
like it.
chopped down the running back from UNLV from like 30
One
yards away?
1000%. We watched it like 17 times, and we
That
kept
might have
telling
been one of the
Glasgow to
most
like go back. We just kept watching it.
that might
I
have been one
mean,
of the most amazing football plays I've ever seen in my life.
oh my God, dude. He was so long. He was also just so ferocious, bro. He was just,
He
man.
man, and when he played and when he was on, I remember we played Northern Illinois and they had that
Oh,
tackle and
yeah. And they had that Garrett Wolf, right? Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
which was supposed to be the
They were
badass.
talking shit to us at the mall one day, like
No,
two.
we held him to like minus 37
I was
yards or
like,
something.
really, y'all? And they were talking shit to us. We were like laughing at him while we were, buying shoes with our per diem or whatever. And I was like, and then that dude had like literally negative 36 yards. And
But
didn't he have negative? I think he had negative yards.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and he was like he was like 2,000 yard back that year, like
Bro, he
but
was averaging like over 200 yards a game. He had
bro, and they
negative
had a
yards.
left tackle. I think his name was Doug Free or something.
Oh,
But I
which
remember he
I,
was
yeah.
supposed to be like a first round pick. Well, as the game went on, Tommy made him look worse and worse. And me and Ortiz, as the game went on, like second quarter, we'd walk by him and go, drop down to the second or third round, bro.
Dang.
The third quarter, we were like, the third quarter, we were like, bro, you down to like fourth or fifth now. By
Oh,
the
that's
end of the
gotta
game, we were like,
that's
bro, you're a free
oh
agent,
my
dog.
God, that's incredible because that's what I heard. The guy that the Cowboys got, I can't remember his name. He's a right guard. They picked him up with the 12th pick. He's a monster, but he was saying how like his he's like everybody shows up. Everybody wants to show up every weekend, and they put their game, music on, and they're just doing this and that, and they're getting ready, and he's like, as the game goes on, I just see them losing all of their like faith and love in the game. Like that's what Tommy did to that dude, essentially.
Bro, Tommy ruined that guy's ability to believe in himself,
And
man.
Tommy was just like in his own fucking head too, bro. He was just there was a
Yeah.
great yeah, I'll tell you a funny Tommy Blake story. So remember I lived with Jack Proctor over there on Wilshire Boulevard over there, right by campus. We had that
Yeah.
nice house, you know what I'm saying? His mom was an interior designer, so there were like curtains and shit. So Tommy and Estelle used to always come over. And I guess Jack had like a big thing of nugs, like a big thing of pot. And
They got
Tom,
nuggets.
Tommy was like, you know this story? Tommy was like,
I don't know, but
well, I'll tell you, it's hysterical. So Tommy was like, let me smell it. Let me smell it. And he kept smelling it and stuff. And I saw him with my peripheral out of the side of my eye. He was like, and he like literally woofed one up from like a mason jar that was like a foot long.
oh yeah, it's real good.
He woofed a nug up into his mouth and he was like, oh, it smells great. And he like spit it out and put it in his pocket. I was like, damn it, Tommy. Like just always thieving, bro.
I
Like
mean, it's
always.
kind of creative, bro. If
It
you
was,
gotta look
I
at it.
mean, I wasn't gonna tell. I was like, that's impressive, man. Pretty good, dude. Just an absolute savage, dude. That guy,
Oh my
man.
God,
He
dog,
was
that's
such a
so. You
sweetheart
know what the
too.
funny thing is? He probably could have just taken one and nobody would have said nothing.
No, I mean nobody was gonna say anything to Tommy at that point. I mean, all those frat guys loved Tommy so much; they were so obsessed. I mean, everybody was obsessed. Tommy was a sweetheart, man. Let's be
Dude,
honest.
Tommy, he was hard. You could not like him.
He had a beautiful smile. He was always happy. He honestly was just like a really good guy, man. I feel so bad for him. I know he's still alive, which is good. I've checked in a couple of times, but man, I just wish that, I mean, hell, dude, he was on the cover of Playboy magazine with Chris Long and
I remember that.
Glenn Dorsey, yeah. And then that was like, I think that was a trigger, and it just, and I think he got into some other stuff, and
He did. He blew up pretty big, and I think the fame got to him a little bit.
it's such a unfortunate situation because he was just like, dude, that guy, I've never
He was
seen.
different, man.
He and Corey Rogers. Jeremy Curley was really fucking good too.
Yeah.
But like Corey Rogers, I mean, do you remember that game at BYU and Corey Rogers? I think he took back a kick return, a punt return. He had a rushing touchdown and a receiving
The
touchdown.
one where he scored right at the end.
Yes, bro.
Yeah.
against BYU. Bro,
Yeah, I remember
I
that.
mean, that dude was gnarly.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
And
I mean, and
he played pissed off.
he did. He played like a defensive
Yeah.
player. He was a defensive player playing offense. And he was,
Yeah.
dude, that kid was net. And he was like wiry too, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, he did have he had some good years up in like Canada and stuff like that. Like I feel like if the USFL had been around, like that's why Turpin was
Yeah.
MVP, and then the kicker for the Cowboys was a USFL
Turp
guy.
was the MVP of that league my dad coached in, the
No
fan
shit.
control league. Yeah.
Your dad coached that league? I didn't know that.
With that fan control where the fans call the plays, you know?
Oh wow, no way. I didn't know about
Because Turk
that.
played like 2 years of straight football.
Damn. Just didn't
Like,
stop, right? He's a
but
little
like
little
I remember
jitterbug.
telling him, I was like, Turk, just keep playing, bro. Like, just keep
Well,
playing.
and
Like
look what he did. I
somebody
mean, now
sooner or
he's a
later is gonna
two-time.
see it.
Yeah, and look what he did. Two-time Pro Bowler. I mean, that kid is sick. Well, Jay, what are you up to now, man? I mean, I see you doing like some like speaking engagements and stuff like that, and you're talking to
Yeah.
kids. Like, talk to me about that.
So like I just man, I was trying to find different ways to basically to just help coaches. That was kind of what I figured out the job really was just adding value to programs for coaches. So I would go in and help them break down film or game plan with them. If they had a really good
Nice.
linebacker, I'd work with them on some stuff. And
Mhm.
uh, I had a coach ask me to just talk to his kids one day about what helped me be
Mhm.
successful. And
Mhm.
I started to do that just because I started to think back on what helped me be successful. And like I said, if you looked at me now, you probably think I was a deep snapper. Like I wasn't built like a big
Yeah,
Tommy
right.
Blake
But you
type.
were doing
You know what I mean?
backflips after we ran like 17 fucking
but
sprints. Yeah. I'll never forget when I first went, no, sorry to interrupt, but I'll never forget when I first like transferred there and I was like, trying to fit in and like trying to get my, and
yeah,
we were running off the field and you just fucking just casually did a backflip. I was like, and bastard, this big white
bro,
bastard just did a backflip like
it's so
after we
funny because I
I was
won
like,
money
damn.
on every team I went to by doing that. Because I'd be like, look, I guarantee I can do a backflip. And dudes would be like, bullshit. I'm like, look, put your money where your mouth is, man. It's like all these dudes that throw in money. I'm like, I'm only gonna do it once. And they're like, you better pay us. I was like, man, I ain't gonna have to pay you. And
Yeah,
so
you're
I
gonna
made
pay
like
me,
13
son.
grand. Like, but I could only do it once because after that, they'd be like, nah, don't let him do it. He's fooling with you. He really can't do it.
Yeah, you're kind of like Doc Holliday at poker, or like you were playing the game. You know what I'm saying? You're like you were just
Oops.
yeah, yeah. Well, I guess I could do it. Whoop. That was
Yeah.
crazy though. I've never seen a 240-pound dude, white guy, just absolutely just do a backflip like standing there. That was the
Well,
craziest
and I
shit.
damn near broke my neck trying to teach myself how to do that because I did it like I took myself on a ditch.
Holy shit. God, you're so country. It's crazy. All right. So you're talking to these kids. Like, tell me about that, dude. I
Yeah,
want to know.
so I
Like,
talked to him about like basically what helped me, play a little bit above my talent level was what I call zero talent characteristics, or I go ZTC for short. But basically, is they are what they sound like. Anything you could think of that takes zero talent to be good at. You know what I mean?
mm,
Like
mhm.
going hard every play, showing up early, putting in extra work,
Yeah.
doing all those things that
There you
some
go.
guys balk at or some guys
Yeah.
laugh at, I mean, or some guys
Yeah.
think, oh, he's trying to be the coach's pet. I'm like, no,
Uh,
that's just how I work. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And I started doing that and talking to kids about. So I asked the coach what problems are y'all having, because every team's different. You're gonna have an old team that needs to learn how to handle success. You're gonna have a young team that guys need to step up. You
Right.
have a team that had to deal with injuries. You know what I mean? So I kind of tailor everything I said to each team. And
Sweet.
man, I was just kind of looking at them and realized after doing about 100 different speeches that I kind of had enough that I could put together a book. So that's what I'm working on now is just kind of
Nice.
writing a book based off of those zero talent characteristics and
Nice.
why you really don't need to be talented to beat people out. You know what I mean? Like it
Mm,
helps. But like there was a lot of guys I beat out year after year in the NFL
Yeah.
that I beat out simply because they didn't want to run down on special team. They didn't want to
Yeah.
be good scouts. They
Yeah.
didn't want to study the playbook so they could back up Mike Sam will. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like none of that took talent. It just took me putting in extra work.
Yeah,
And so
that's
that's
for
kind of
sure.
what I'm working on now, which I
I
feel
love
like the
that.
game is losing because of all the other crap that's getting thrown in it.
I love
So
that.
I'm not a writer though, so we'll see how that turns out.
Well, you get a ghost writer. That's what, because I'm kind of working on the same deal for a movie. You know, because you know Bert Kreischer, the guy that always takes his shirt off. You know,
Yeah,
yeah, he's a maniac. You know, he wrote Van Wilder, and so
really.
yeah, so Ryan Reynolds is Bert Kreischer. That was his character. Like, so he took his experiences from Florida State and wrote the movie, and then Ryan Reynolds was the character that was actually Bert Kreischer.
Oh my God, is
And
that
so,
fun going to college with
yes,
that
I
guy?
know, right? I know. And I've been to Florida State when I was doing TV, and let me tell you something. That shit was dope. I was like, yeah, I'm 23. Yeah, I'm here. I was like, you know,
Hey.
but that's what I'm trying to do as well, dude. I'm working on a movie called The Assistant with, and it's essentially a pretty boy, white boy, me, that carries around and drives Miss Daisy, Michael Irvin, and I just share my stories, and because the stories that I have with Michael, I mean, you can't make that shit up, bro. I mean,
Bro, and that's crazy, dude. That's what people don't understand when I talk to them. I'm like, man, I don't like to tell stories about the guys I played with that are big name because
right,
I don't want to tell their shit. But I'm like,
right.
I could not make up some of the stuff
I
I could tell
know
you
it's
guys.
insane, dude. The shit that I
And
did,
it's not
and
like they did anything crazy. It's just the way
no, it
people
was just
acted around.
like it's just like a level, a complete level up, dude. It's not even.
Bruh, from just like the way people acted to the way people responded. It
Oh
was
my
so funny.
God, bro. Yeah, because everybody's like, oh, you know,
And then you realize they're
oh,
like
you,
normal
and you're
ass.
like, yeah, and you're like, well, I mean, I live with this guy every day. Like, you know what I'm saying? It was just people don't get that. Jason Phillips, incredible human, badass teammate, a great friend. You're my brother, dude. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man, right back
So
at you. I appreciate you having
I
me
mean,
on, bro.
I love you to death, man. I appreciate the hell out of you. I want you to get to Austin so you can come and
I
hang
gotta get
out.
I gotta get back seeing mom so I get some more good cooking, man.
Oh, you need to get to Funky Town. Yeah, I'm going there at the end of May for my birthday. We got a table at Joe T's. I don't know if you can make that happen, but
What weekend is that?
May 23rd, it's Friday, May 23rd, we're gonna be at Joe T's. I've got like, dude, I've got all kinds of people pulling up. It's gonna be dope. So I know
I'm gonna have
I
to
know
check the
that's a
schedule.
drive, and I know you got your lady. And how is everything? You guys doing okay? Everything? Do you have a
Oh
baby
yeah,
on the way or
yeah.
anything? Do you have a
I
baby?
got my lady. So I'm just trying to keep her happy, but
I know. How? Yeah, that's not easy. Good luck with that, buddy.
I put the work in for her.
Oh, I know you do, brother. You're a good guy, man, and I wish the best for you. And we'll stay in touch, and I'll talk to you soon, dogs.
Man, sounds good, bro. Appreciate everything.
Sayonara, dude. Peace.
Later, bud.